It's a new point of view to chew over what's new to you. Shoot the breeze, make buddies, and Melissa MCs, families, memories, original artist series.
Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. It's December 12th. Can you believe we're in December? It's the 12th, 12/12/2020. I can't even believe it. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I'm so excited for today's guest. Hannah and I, her name's Hannah Ingram, work together in the USO. And for those of you that don't know what the USO stands for, it's United Service Organizations. And Hannah is a very talented singer, and she did all the parts: soprano, alto, and middle soprano. I forgot what that second soprano. She did it all. And we met in 2004, and we became friends instantly. And since then, she has gone on to star in many, many, many productions, which we're going to talk about tonight. But she's also super smart, super fun, and a very, very good friend of mine. So without further ado, please welcome Hannah Ingram.
Hi. Hi from down in Virginia.
How are you?
I'm good, friend. It's good to be here.
Good to see you. Oh, I feel like
United Service Organizations. Usually people think it's United Services Organizations, and we learned it. I was like, yeah.
I know. Yes. I know people still ask, and I understand, it's not like mainstream people talking about it all the time, but I think United Service Organizations.
Yep.
Now, you were involved in it before I was, but I just remember my very first rehearsal, actually after I was hired and it was official, just meeting you that very first day and just jumping in and learning parts. And
That was the only way. I mean, how often do we get a chance to do tight Andrew Sisters harmony like that?
Oh my gosh.
Here we go.
Constantly, right? Exactly. So I know you're in Virginia now. How are things going in Virginia right now where you are?
Our case numbers are really high right now. We are, I'm down in Southwest Virginia. So Virginia is a giant state, just like New York is. I'm from New York State, but everyone always thought I was from New York City. Much like that in Virginia, it's like you think of Northern Virginia, but we're way in the southwest corner. I'm actually as close to Tennessee and North Carolina as any part of Northern Virginia. So and our case numbers are high. It took us a long time to get here because we're so spread out and rural, but I'm staying inside and only wearing a mask when I go out for sure. So.
Absolutely. Now, I know we're going to backtrack and start at the beginning because your career is so interesting. But you're in Abingdon, that's how you pronounce it, right?
Yeah.
Virginia, and you are part of what theater?
Barter Theatre.
The Barter Theatre.
It's this would have been or is technically, but it's makeshift, a different version of the season. But I think it's our 87th season. We're the longest running regional theater in the country.
Wow, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. That's really quick, but it's really super cute. Barter Theatre, the name comes from the fact that there was a guy, our founder, Robert Porterfield, who lived and was a New York actor for a really long time, and all of the New York actors in the Depression weren't working. There wasn't anything here. And he said, from around here, he said, let's go down and have you guys work because they don't have theater down there, but they've got a ton of food and we can't eat up here. So he and a group went together and they barely made any money that first season, but they did a collective weight gain of 80 pounds or something like that. And people
incredible.
Pay with food and pay with farm goods and canned jellies and all sorts of stuff. It's cool.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
I love that story. I know you did that before. And I forgot about it.
That's the name.
Right. So I know you've been there, several years, and we're going to get to the exact moment you were hired, but let's go back to the beginning. So what how did you start in the arts? Was it school or was it band, or what was your beginning in your arts?
My parents are both actors, so you and I have joked. I started in the womb. In the womb. My mom was doing Fiddler on the Roof when she was pregnant with me. It was idol. So yeah, and so I grew up. Also, at a very young age, my parents were the first graduate class of Alabama Shakespeare Festival, so we moved down there.
Okay.
And so, like, whole childhood and everything takes place like backstage in a rehearsal room, not just really even on stage, but just in the theater spaces, you know. So you could say how did I not end up there, you know, but my parents were like, anything else.
Nope. So when did you know this was your parents calling, but when did you know this is for me? What was your like turning point?
I took dance all growing up. I took ballet mainly. And so, I mean, I guess, you know, there's that stage element, but I was also quite shy. I mean, we'd still laugh about this. I still consider myself shy, even though anyone who knows me would be like, there's no way. But it's all about like what's going on inside, you know?
Right. Right.
So I didn't think actually that I was going to want to go into it. And then I auditioned for the high school musicals and got cast. And my mom at that point was a theater professor. We were now in upstate New York at that point. And so they did like a summer repertory theater that was open to the community. And they were doing Nonsense. And there's Sister Mary Leo, who dances on point. And I was like, hello, she's young. She's a novice. I'm 16 and I dance on point. So I went and I auditioned just like hoping and got cast. And there was something that felt like, hey, I got cast even over some of these local college students that I know are amazing. And so there was something about, I think it's actually a pattern in my life, like the understanding that you can makes you want to. Do you know what
Yes.
It like turned on,
Absolutely.
and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
and I think it was that way for my parents too. We've talked about it, where they were like, oh, she's not just interested in singing and dancing, like she could do this maybe. So yeah, that was kind of, I would say that was the moment.
So what I totally forgot that you danced on point.
Oh yeah, yeah. I wonder what would happen now. I still have
Yeah, I'm sure you could still do it.
Yeah, that's what I need to be doing during 2020.
So you took dance. Did you have a studio you were particularly with?
Anne Hebard School of Ballet. I love that woman. She was hard. I mean, she was that quintessential dance teacher. She was British. She trained with and was like a colleague of David Howard, for those of you who are dancers out there. Very much a kinesthetic mindset as far as dance, and so about like energies and stuff, not just like hitting marks, but like healthfully and like through movements and those things.
Right.
I didn't realize what a gift she was giving at the time of dancing that way in a healthful, like building that strong foundation. But oh my gosh,
It's so great.
Still think about her. She's retired, but she's still up there in the Catskills and the
environment. I love that. So when did you officially start singing then? Or did it kind of just come hand in hand?
Okay, so this is weird. I grew up singing. I think any of us who are musical theater nerds in our life, you know, I would say my extended period of time as a musical theater nerd, listening to like every musical known to man and memorizing it. Yeah, it was quite extensive. And so I was constantly singing in my room. My mom was at that point a voice and speech teacher, not a singing voice, but like a voice coach, dialects, and yeah, Fitzmaurice, and all of that. So I did kind of grow up in a house where we were doing healthy. I've just been very lucky about like call method and not strangling your voice. And singers would hear me sing, like make sure you put that right in your nose, Hannah. You know, like it's not your standard.
Hannah.
But So I was always singing, and I was in the choir and everything at school, but I didn't take a voice lesson until I got to college.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
I know you went to quite an astute musical theater school.
Mm-hmm.
What was your audition process like? Because I know you said you had an opportunity to audition for
earlier, yeah.
Yeah. What was that like?
Oh, I hate auditions. I still do. I just hate them. They're so unnatural, And now
I hear you.
I feel like, I'm an adult. I've been through life. I know how to mitigate hating an audition, and I'm allowed to still hate it because I've but like when you're going into college for what you hope is theater or musical theater, you're not supposed to just be like, I hate this, so therefore, it's
Right.
you. So, yeah. So I didn't love that part of it, and I didn't take advantage of the fact well enough that my parents were actors and could help. But I landed at University of Michigan, and it actually,
cool.
Yeah, it was a great school. It was my first choice, and it's because they, at the time, and I believe still, they do a conservatory training, which was important. Like, if you're going to do this, let's do it. No half-assing it. But also, they require a liberal arts side of the education. And that, to me, even like at a young age, I was like, a well-rounded person makes a well-rounded actor. Like,
I agree.
Some of my
experiences
classes were in like history and looking at art through a history perspective and stuff like that. Right. Still rattles around in it. So I'm really grateful for that education. It was really fun.
That's so cool. And so tell me a little bit about what it was like, because I know my college experience. I did very little musical theaters. I was on an opera track,
right,
which has helped me in a lot of ways. But did you study Meisner? Did you study Stanislavski? What was kind of the methodology that you were, or did you learn all of it?
This is the thing, and I think they may have fixed it up and tweaked it a little bit since then. But when I was there, acting was the least number of hours that I spent. Like, I could have gotten my full required acting class credits done by the end of sophomore year. And like our dance credits and some of our singing credits were filled all the way up. And to me, I'm like, it's wall, like, what are we doing? So I don't, we touched on different methods and stuff, but there was perhaps a little bit of a feeling of that like pigeonhole element of the musical theater, people not needing to always have to like fill their docket with the acting classes. And I disagreed. So I went and I studied in London for a semester with a group of friends.
Right. And I ask because you were such a good actor. I've seen you in several things. We'll get to that later. But so tell me about your year in London.
Oh gosh. It's one thing to visit a place. It's another thing to live there. And to live there, it was first semester of my junior year of college. We were a larger group than normally went. So I think there was like 7 of us from my school, and my 2 flatmates were my 2 best friends. Like, it was epic. And I happened to learn a lot too.
Fair. Yeah, Leonie's, I can also just contribute, Leonie spent I think a year or 2 working there before she did the cruises. But I think anytime you can work, learn, live abroad is so enriching. Just enriches your life.
It's exactly what I was saying about the training, the like liberal arts education, because it's all about expanding horizons, right? Like, if you are expected to represent someone from another country as an actor and do your best, not just about like they're getting their dialect right, but anything. Right. Come on, you have to at least have experienced something elsewhere.
Yeah.
Hi, Eva.
That's Leonie's mom. Hi,
Eva. Setting your alarm to watch this.
Yeah. She's a great mother-in-law. She's amazing. Yeah, I totally forgot about this. Like my first job before I did the cruises, I worked in Germany for 4 months, and I called my mom after I was there for like 2 days.
Mhm.
Like, we have to dance on cement. It's out. It's like not outside, but it's kind of outside. It's like a dome. It's supposed to be. There's no microphones. It's supposed to be for opera, but we're singing pop, and I'm so confused. I want to come home. And she's like, "You ain't coming home." Her boyfriend was a travel agent at the time. So I called his office, and they're like, "Yeah, your mom said even if you use your own credit card." I had like one credit card. Even if you use that, you can't. I can't help you. And I was like, "All right." So I ended up staying, and I loved it. I bought a bike.
Yeah.
A lot of time by myself. I got a gym membership. No one deodorant, but I still went to the gym. Something I would never do now. But I think it made me. It like popped up my maturity. Like,
Oh,
and this was 1996. Sorry, I'm dating myself. I am older than Hannah. No, but I feel like having that experience made me ready for some things that came down the line.
yeah.
Just having, not in my comfort zone.
And versatility. Like not
Yeah.
just knowing that something else is out there, but like when you're the minority, ooh, there is nothing that's a better wake-up call. Like we all need to feel that at some point. Be
Right.
like, oh God, no one speaks my language. I'm in someone else's country and I need to do my best to speak their language. Hell yeah, you do.
Yeah, yeah. And I just had taken German, so I knew at least enough to get around. But yeah, totally. So
You know my theory about German, right? And I've never taken German. And this is not to offend anyone who is German out there. But we went with the USO, spoiler alert.
oh, that's right. I didn't do this trip. Tell me about this.
The one place that I finally got to go overseas was to Heidelberg.
Right.
And a friend at my survival job at the time, my friend Sue, was like, "Here, I can teach you some basic like phrases and stuff, just so you'll be," because she had studied abroad in Germany, and I was like, okay. And every time she told me a word, I was like, that literally just sounds like me making up a word in fake German. Like it's, or I was like, I can get around and be like, "I'm liking this Bierhausen," and like people would know what I meant. It was like the arrow in the hotel said pool, and it was like pool. Like, I can figure this out.
You can do this.
Yeah,
I know
right.
we were in Queens for that one birthday where weren't we at the German beer garden?
Yes. I like that Bierhausen too.
I like it. I took Equicar home. How's it?
Oh God. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We are going astray. I love it. So right after college, you were in the category, because I ask everyone this, did you move straight to New York or did you have some stops? And you said that after you did the show, straight here.
Yeah, I moved straight there with the exception of I had auditioned for a production of Steel Magnolias at Porthouse Theater in Ohio, which was really cool because my parents had performed there when I was like 10, and I was like on the stage playing a drug dealer in Skin of Our Teeth for 2 seconds. So I was able to like revisit this theater that like, oh, I've been here before. It was like,
Right.
So
that's so fun. So tell me a little bit about. We may as well get to the first story. Your first show in New York.
God, what was my first show? Oh yeah. We talked about this, and I was like, wait, what was it? Yeah. So I moved, and I was staying in an apartment that my friend and I were going to be subletting together, but she was still out on the road, and there was like, I had like a mattress on the floor, and I had my best friend from upstate was staying with me, and we had no connection. And I landed a TheaterWorks fall tour of Island of the Blue Dolphins, and we had our first day of rehearsal, which was when you sign your contracts, when you go through all like getting your equity card and what this means, and then day 2 was like going to be our actual first rehearsal day. But day 2 was 9/11/2001. And I was like, this is my first real day of my first equity job. I'm going downtown. I was getting ready, and that's when the planes hit. My friend was like, please don't go down there. Please don't go down there. And I was like, that's way downtown, and I'm going to Chelsea, but I'll be careful, I promise. But also it's that weird thing to put yourself back in that mindset where
right. And you had
you didn't know, and you can't fault anyone for not treating it with the weight that it deserves, because we didn't know at the time. So we got down there, and sure enough, I was underground still in the subway when the Pentagon was hit. And so when I came back out, I mean, at that point, by the time I showed up to Chelsea, everyone was gathered around. I mean, it was like, not to date us, but it was old Chelsea, by the way. It was like 6th floor old Chelsea, and the tiny, tiny little TV that we were all gathered around, just like one payphone that everyone was trying, because our cell phones weren't working, and cell phones were like a weird thing at that point anyway. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'll never forget it.
Yeah. I was in LA at the time, and that was my first day of rehearsal for Honk, which was my first equity show. Mm-hmm. Our lead actor, Lance Roberts, who also does a show similar to this on Sundays. I love him so much. He was flying in from London, so they still honored rehearsal, but the main rehearsal was spent reflecting and, just in kind of like in shock and saying prayers, and just, I just remember just overwhelmed. Yeah. But it's such a monumental day. And a story I forgot to mention when we were talking the other day, I had just flown from Anchorage, Alaska the day before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I got the Honk job. I left the ship, and I flew on a plane on September 10th, 2001. I still have my ticket. I've toned down some of my papers, I keep. But I still have it, and it's just, I'm lucky to be alive. I'm lucky to all those things. So days you never forget where you were.
So my dad's birthday is 9/11, and he was on the Maurice Hines Guys and Dolls tour at that time. And so they were touring, and they were flying all the time. That particular overnight, they took a bus because they were in Canada, I believe, and they were going someplace else. So it was like they took a bus that one time. But normally he would have been in the air, and I couldn't get a hold of it. It was his birthday, and I was like, is my father on one of his planes? I didn't know. It was awful.
Yeah.
Just I'm one of those people. I buy one of those DVD sets, one of those back when they had them, and there were ones that was like a little bit harsher to watch. I purposely got one of those because I was like, I never want to forget just how hard my heart clenches. Because time does heal everything in a certain way, and gives a haze. And I was like, I always want to try to retain the immediacy of that day, because to have lived through it, you don't want to let that go. It doesn't deserve to be like that.
Yeah, same. I feel exactly the same.
Yeah.
So after the show went on, you said you went on your tour, actually. Mm-hmm. After that, did the USO come after that, or did you have a couple jobs in between?
What happened first? So I got it. I was so lucky. My friend got me hooked up with Skadden Arps law firm in Times Square. That was my survival job, and they are open. It's international law firm, open 24/7. So I was able to work second and third shift and still audition during the day, which was still, I mean, it can be pretty rough, but the pay is decent. They train you all, and I was so blessed to have gotten that. But so then I had to leave. I got a job on Disney Cruise Line.
Oh, that's right.
So that was my next big break.
So were you Belle, or did you do all bunch of roles?
No, Belle is in her village with Maurice. She doesn't go on the high seas, but I was friends with Belle.
Okay, of course you were. You're friends with everybody.
I was also friends with Megara from Hercules.
Okay,
friends with.
I'm glad there's camaraderie.
Lots of friendships, yeah.
Lots of friends. Yeah, I remember you saying Disney was a little strict.
Yeah, and they have to be. I mean, compared to the other cruise lines and stuff, just
Oh yeah,
one.
my debauchery on the big boat.
Oh, there's debauchery. Don't get me wrong.
It's just it's more secretive.
Yeah, exactly.
Not out in the open.
Yeah, and it all is themed, underscored with Disney music.
Yes, that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, my cruise ship, my very first cruise ship, the Big Red Boat, it used to be Disney's until they expanded, and now they're amazing. I hear the product is just incredible.
Yeah. Oh my
But
God.
my shower curtain in my crew cabin was a Disney shower curtain. It was like an old Disney shower curtain.
How old it was.
Yeah, totally. But we had somehow they got like the adjunct of the adjunct of the adjunct, like triple Off-Broadway kind of thing of the Looney Tunes. We had some sort of like third version Tweety. But I have the best pictures of my mom getting like a Tweety tuck-in.
Oh, I love
So
that.
cute. Yeah, and we did a show with them once. So I'm singing in like a banana suit, just Tweety, and it's funny. And my favorite was Pepe Le Pew. That was my all time.
Yeah.
But singing with characters is fun.
Yes.
Glad you had that experience. But you're the kind of cruiser that's like one and done. Because I know a lot of cruise people have worked on it say never again. I went back and back and back. I mean, I am now retired, but you were like one contract and like, we're good. I did it.
Well, and I think here's the thing that didn't appeal to me about Disney, but that's just, I mean, it's just taste. It's just me. I didn't mean that like it's just taste. I meant like it's my taste. That came out wrong.
No, I know what you mean.
There is this need and requirement to match a performance that's already been given.
Right.
Like you have to be believable as this other thing that's already established, and that's all well and good. And yes, you can make that your own. And of course, and if you aren't, you're not doing the job, of course. But I like parameters, but not like that. I want to be able to do other stuff on my own.
A little, yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. I'm sure it's like that for Broadway too, like Disney Broadway. I'm sure it's, but everyone has a part in this world and part of your world. If you can fit the costume, right? Fitting the costume. USO, how challenging was that? And amazing.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
all the stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a little sip. I think some of my most heartwarming and heartstring pulling moments of my entire career took place doing the USO. And eye-opening. Like, I was ashamed to realize how little I knew about how our military works, and still do not know, and the ability to learn about them, honor them. And it was always like a big love fest in the sense of like, they were grateful for us being there to perform for them. And we were like, no, we're here to show our gratitude and like somehow honor you. It just, there was always such positivity involved in that. And you and I both are like positive creatures that way. So yeah, that was beautiful. You remember the VA hospital on Valentine's Day in Roanoke? In Roanoke, only 2 hours north of right now. And we did a Valentine's Day show. And we did the show on the proscenium stage, and they brought everyone in that they could. And part of our US, I don't know how much you've ever talked about it on here, if anything, but a big part of our show was going out into the audience and choosing people to dance with or sing to and like be interactive with. And they loved it because we're singing their music of their era, and they're like, "We want you, pretty lady in a dress," And so that was cool. But then we went around to the different wings and wards of people who weren't able to travel to see the show in the auditorium, and that part, forget about it. There were people people warned us, hey, they're not going to know that you're here. Feel free to hold their hands, sing to them, whatever, but they have not been responsive to anything for years. And we were like, okay, great. And we'll just sing. And I remember one guy, I held his hand and I was singing one of those songs, and he was slumped over, and clearly, I mean, just everything about him, he'd been slumped like that for quite some time, and they had warned me, and I said, that's okay. And I was singing a song, and I just saw one tear come down, and there was no other response, no squeeze necessarily, anything, just that. But he was responding.
Right.
That music and that a bit, like, I just, you don't have experiences like that just any time.
No.
I'm so grateful to the USO for that. And then we got to travel, and we got to, like, again, meet people. Melissa and I laugh all the time, everyone who's watching. We would basically turn into celebrities for like a weekend. And then we'd come back to the trudge of New York City, you know, with like our like carry-on rolling behind us and like on the subway or whatever. We'd show up at the office and we'd have our nails painted all red and our full face of makeup, and we'd put on these like leather jackets that said USO, and we'd travel, and then we'd get picked up at the airport, and everyone would be like, the Liberty Bells are here, the Liberty Bells are here. And we'd be like, yes, we are. And then it would end and we'd fly home. We'd be like, see you next weekend. Okay, bye.
Back in the bar. In my jeans with holes in them.
Much more comfortable.
No, but yeah, I think as we're talking, you know, that trip to Texas was pretty remarkable, because I've been to Texas, but I've not spent any quality time there.
Yeah.
And what armadillo is that?
Yeah.
Because we went to dinner and someone warned us, you know, when you go back, just make sure, because you have leftovers, like make sure you just put them away safely, because the armadillo may or may not sneak in or try to steal your leftovers if it smells things.
And we were kind of
like, okay, like, is this animal gonna just come inside my room? Like, maybe that might happen.
Does he live in the armoire? Is he an armoire-dillo?
I mean, I'm like, you know, get a little here and there, but I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna leave my door open for the armoire, but I'm, you know, thank you for warning me.
But people were always messing with us too. So there was always that, like, someone would say something like that to us, and like we just flew. We were part of USO World, so we would just fly wherever, and we'd be like, are you kidding with me right now about the armadillo, or do I really need? I'm gonna err on the safe side.
I need to be careful. I was always a double-edged sword when we would stay at the base, because I felt like it was kind of an honor, but then I'm like, I can't. Like, where do we go for like stuff? Like,
yeah,
our little it was before Uber.
Yeah,
Uber. Like, I was like, how do we like go to the store if we need we had drivers, and we had those like family driving us.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
interesting.
We didn't have like an ID to get on and off base or anything like that. Yeah. And Miss Melissa, I love you. I actually do this now, just so you know, because they would put us in different hotels, and Melissa would always bring her stuff up, open the door, and smell the room first, because you know how there's some hotel rooms that have like a real weird smell, and Melissa is like really, really with that, and she's not going to be okay with it. The other thing is how close it is it to the elevator. The elevator door closing and people coming out loudly all through the night. I now ask that all the time. I'm like, put me as far from the elevator as possible. But Melissa would go through rooms. She'd come back down to the lobby and she'd be like, I'm so sorry, but that room smells kind of funny. Can you give me another room?
I was the worst.
No, it was good. I mean, you know they have the rooms.
My mom used to call me Princess in the Pea, because I would like check the bed, sniff around, turn on the air conditioning, make sure like it doesn't smell like mold now.
Yep.
It smell like mold when the AC goes on, because if that's the case, you can't stay here.
You did.
I was the worst. But you know, when they say fill out your preference card, I prefer not to have mold, and I want, you know, I don't want scratchy sheets either. Like that's.
And I'm gonna need an extra pillow that isn't down.
I'm definitely gonna need an extra pillow that isn't.
I'm not down with down.
We were such princesses. I love it. But it was the best.
We were allowed to be. That was the part of the fun.
It was so much fun, and it was so. In some ways, it was so hard to wear the nails and do the heels all the time and smile all the time. But yet every time we left, whether it was a hospital or an actual big conference, like the big, huge conference we did in DC, I don't remember, it was in thousands of people were there.
Oh yeah, those big conventions.
Sound was great. The sound was fantastic. There was like big TVs of us on both sides, and we all looked so good. Like it just, it was really professional, and I do appreciate that experience because I think, and speaking of our cabaret that we did, I think we translated that into other jobs we've had because I won't sing anything that isn't over rehearsed.
Right.
Like over rehearsed.
Yeah. The woman who ran it, she ran a tight ship and she had very, very clear vision for what this group and troupe was, what we represented as far as the organization, being able to like speak about it. We weren't just there like cashing a paycheck. Like we were representative of something,
Yeah.
Also, I think too, and I know you and I were always pretty good about this anyway, but like we can talk to anyone now. Don't you feel that? Like at like a gala party or to a stranger or whatever, you can like talk to anyone now about and truly be interested in like figuring out like what makes them tick and what's going on in their lives. And I think a lot of that has to do with just the social element that was required in what we did.
I think so too. I remember Japan, and there was a dinner before we sang, and our director was like, "Just don't drink. Like, that's fine, and just don't eat anything." Like, okay, yeah, got it. No problem. Because those dresses are so tight. And I just, like, even now, if I eat anything large of any kind, I want to take a nap. So I do understand. But it when there's like 12 forks instead of like 4, 2, or 6, I don't know, 6 cutleries. I don't know. It was so many forks. It was so long. But it was just, it was the job. You had to be able to dine with people too.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't sing. You didn't just stay a size 6, 4, 2, 0. You had to actually know how to talk to people too.
Yeah, it's really true.
I'm gonna close with this, and then we'll move on to our next thing. But Hannah and I were in back to the Texas tour. Hannah was Oreo's meowing. Hi, honey. Hannah it was hot, and
like literally, not just like
literally hot. Like, sometimes laundry was like Febreze. It wasn't necessarily like a full laundry because, we're touring or whatever.
In Texas, that Texas tour, we did a bunch of outdoor shows, in blazing heat. And it was like a 2.5, 3 week tour where we were getting like driven all across the state. So it was like an extended period of time. Yeah.
So we're in the limo because we're always in a limo, and I just like look over, and I'm like, Hannah, did you just do that? And then
what it was
laughing. So okay, I'm trying to look the right way. I'm looking the right way. Okay, because she's opposite.
So I was like,
and I looked at Hannah, and this is what Hannah was doing. Hannah.
Wait, can you even see it? Wait.
I can see.
I was like,
oh wait, I'm looking around. So okay, and scene. Go. Hannah, did you just do what I think you did?
Yes, but I have to tell you why. Okay, so our USO costumes and everything were always like, they were like Melissa said, they were like tight. They were these short little things.
Tight.
And we were supposed to be like, accentuating all of our feminine wiles. So I had, if any of you ladies out there remembered, I don't think they exist anymore because they were a problem, but like those water bras, those like water gel pads that were in your bra. So I had my show bra, had those in it, and I've been sweating in that thing for forever. And for like the past week, I kept smelling BO even when I knew I had just showered. And I was like, I know it's not me. And I was sniffing the armpits of the the costumes, but we've been for freezing those. It wasn't that. I was like, what is this? I can't figure it out. It's because the little gel water things wouldn't let you you just sweat, and it would just hold the sweat. My bra gel things stank like BO, and I had finally figured out what it was, and Melissa caught me.
I caught her.
I was like, I figured it out. It was pretty amazing.
So funny. It was so funny. I love that story so much. So we love to work with each other so much in the USO that we decided to do our very first cabaret together.
Yeah.
I had done recitals before, which is similar in terms of preparation to a cabaret, but I was so deathly afraid that no one would come. Not that I didn't, worked at the duplex, so not that I didn't have some friends, and I lived in New York for 2 years, and many people do their cabaret about their move to New York or wanting to be an actress or, whatever. But so Hannah and I decided to do it together. And so Hannah...
I was too, not because I was worried no one would come, although I probably should have been worried about that too. I was more worried about just how to do it. What makes a good cabaret? And there's plenty of people who have done really amazing cabarets. What makes me worth doing one? But doing one together took some of that pressure off. It was so nice.
Oh, definitely. And we had a couple good things going for us. I'll start with Robbie Stamper, who I was at the duplex on my Sunday shift. And we did perform our cabaret at the duplex upstairs. But we had him on board, from the get-go. You decide what you want to sing, and we'll do it. He's so great at making arrangements.
It makes everything better. You're
yeah.
This.
Come over. We'll figure it out. Yeah.
Harmonies with. Robbie Stanford is
he sang with us too. Yeah. So we did this amazing cabaret. It was called For a Good Time Call, and we did it really about dating and relationships, which is always so fun for me to sing about. Whether it's good or bad, it's always fun. And we had Brandon Cutrell, who had just won a MAC award for his cabaret, and he also went to Cincinnati and had a fantastic degree program behind him. And I really liked his style. And so we were set up for success. We had sold out shows every time. My friend Jason ran the video camera, so we have video of every single performance.
Literally video.
Literally. And when I've been doing my project of the VHS to digital, I found our cabaret, and it's still to this day so good. So the clip that I have, what we're going to show, just to warn those of you that are watching, it is a VHS tape in a VHS player that I use my iPhone to record. Just a taste of the show. So we had many fun songs, but this one I think really captures the harmony. I think
you were really smart with what we chose for the entire show too.
So.
Really maximize what we already did well together,
Yeah.
Fun.
I have a cat she's wants my attention. So, Ori, listen to the song. Now she's on the fish tank. Okay, so I'm going to play a clip. It's about 3 minutes long. So those of you who are watching, let's watch this clip together. This is Hannah, Ingram, and myself, 2005 at the Duplex, in our cabaret show For a Good Time Call. And this song is from Merrily We Roll Along.
We're the names see the ship, makes you think there's so much stuff to see. And you and me will be singing it like the birds. Be with you to get you apart. Tell them things they don't know. Up to us, pal, to show up. Story time, breathe it in. Worlds to change and worlds to win. Our turn, it was new. Me and you, pal, me and you. You'll flow. We're what's happening. Don't go. All we had was that funny feeling, saying someday we'd send them reeling. Now it looks like we can. Someday just began. It's our hands on the clock. Give us room and start the clock. Our time coming through. Me and you, pal. Me and you. Me and you. It's our time. Our
Babies! Also, whoever sneezed. That's what
The harmonies, like I think because we had worked together in the USO for, at that point, a full calendar year,
Mhm.
I think, we just, that part came very easily.
Yeah.
But also thank you to Robbie for sitting with us in his apartment,
Yeah.
picking out the harmonies and making sure that, because I don't think we wrote anything down.
No, and we even, some of the arrangements, we like the one song that we pulled from the Calloway Sisters, do you remember? And
Yeah.
it was a whole different version. And we were basically had like the recording and the original song, but they had done such a cool arrangement. We were like, Robbie, can you like make this happen? And he did. I mean, it just was.
Yeah, we worked so hard, and
Our
Dom.
cutoffs were awesome too. I was really
Thank you. And Ina is.
Oh, hi guys.
Thank you for watching. Yeah, so I think it was just so fun. And if I don't know. Well, I do have to say, like, just for those of you that don't know Hannah quite that well, Hannah shows up to our first rehearsal. She had a spreadsheet of proper Excel spreadsheet of about 200 songs that we were, flipping through, and maybe solo. I had a couple solos in mind, like pop songs I wanted to turn into a little bit of theatrics, whatever. But really, we wanted to do strong duets. So a spreadsheet of that, and then she had a spreadsheet of all the casting directors and agents and managers that we wanted to send invitations to. Oh my gosh, and I totally forgot about this.
What?
I did a whole photo shoot with Garfield.
Yeah.
At that Duke's restaurant.
Yep.
3 of us. And I was like, just take a bunch of pictures of us, and Mark turned it into something, and then we got a Vista print or something.
And that way we had our own branding, our own
we had our own, yeah.
And to make people remember us. Who knows if it helped, but yeah, my current job that I'm doing now during COVID is like a coordinator kind of position, and she was like, okay, so what else can you bring to the job? I said, well, I'm glad it's a coordinator position, because if you were to hire me, you're going to get a coordinator whether you hired one or not. I can't help myself, basically.
You're so organized, because
I always love to spread.
The Pisces in me totally needed the Virgo in you.
Yeah.
Every ounce of what you have to offer, I needed, because I'm like, look at this shiny unicorn, sing this, and this is okay, and getting me a decision about songs is always hard. So thank you for being.
Oh, you're welcome from 2005.
Well, listen, I know dates like I know my own name. I don't know why. I probably
Yeah. You have always been really good about dates because I
I
couldn't
don't know
remember.
why. I have no idea. I went into like my first therapy session a long time ago with like this timeline. They're like, why don't you put that away? Like, let's just see where you are right now. I'm like, no, because I want to talk about what happened in 1992 and a half before 1993, where things went really well. What
Because
happened?
it all leads to, I mean, to be fair,
Right. Bridge of
there's a reason why we have timelines so we can see the
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a timeline in anybody's timeline, any timeline. I'm like, even Dom, like he's like, it's my 10-year anniversary in New York. I'm like, timeline, like, or
Yeah.
was it 12-year? Oops, I think it's 12. Anyway, I like all the years just clicking by. Speaking of timeline, we're totally, really going off. I love it. So I was getting off a cruise ship in 2008 exactly.
Mhm.
You sent me an email. I was in Aruba. I remember it like it was yesterday because Aruba, I either went to the beach or I went to the email cafe. I didn't really do much else.
Mhm.
I went scuba diving a few times, but this
I
time
was just gonna say, did you scuba in Aruba?
I
I'm glad that you did because that
I'm
would
not
have
in Aruba.
been. Yeah.
Leonia out. Okay, I have a nice Aruba moment on the fridge. I'll show you in a second. But you gave me an email and you're just very to the point with like 6 or 8 or 12 paragraphs. And you were like, this is what's happening. But all in all, you're like, I trust you. And I was like, that is so kind. That's the best compliment anyone can ever give me because I work hard for my relationships. But you were offering me a roommate situation and I needed it after a cruise. I was out for 9 months. But you got your first gig at Barter.
Mhm. Yeah. So yeah, we both. Go ahead.
Yeah, and Belle, right?
It was Evita in rep with Acid Queen and Tommy for the summer shows. And then, yes, you heard me right, folks, in rep. So one like matinee, I'd be singing Evita, and then that evening I would sing Acid Queen. I remember my father was like, "They want you to do what?"
I have training, Dad. I can do it.
Yeah, I can do it. I can do it. Can I do it? No, because I didn't belt at the time. I didn't consider myself a belter at the time, so I was like, time to work on that. Must have fooled them in the audition. And then it was Belle and Beauty and the Beast and a straight play and rep for the fall. So yeah, so I got 7 months of work, 2 lead role, like expanded the resume. And I was like, what is this theater? I didn't know anything about them at the time. But yeah, and
I've been there now.
so this would have been my 13th year, or I mean, it is my 13th year. We just didn't get on stage this year, so I didn't. So yeah, this would be my 13th year.
Just for fun, because your resume. So I personally I saw you in Wizard of Oz, and then I also saw you in Anne. Anne Frank. Sorry, my brain. Sorry,
Anne Frank. Yeah,
you traveled.
Yeah.
You were doing a traveling show. Give us a couple top line favorite roles. Like if you could name I know you have so many in a because you're considered not a player but a
resident company member.
Resident company member. Okay.
It's cool because we are a professional Lort D Theater. That same guy who founded Barter Theatre I was talking about before, he is the original founder of Lort as a entity.
Lort. Oh, that's amazing.
So we are a Lort D. We have been for forever. And
those are great contracts for someone like John, our friend John.
Yes. Yeah.
We like these contracts.
And Barter's different than most other theaters because we are a true repertory theater. A lot of people have rep in their name, but like as far as you can come to Barter Theatre on a weekend, like on a Friday, see one show Friday night, and we have 2 spaces. We've got the proscenium big space, and we've got like a smaller less stage, more intimate. And so you can come and you can see one show on Friday, see a different show Saturday matinee, then in the same exact space Saturday, see another show, and then on Sunday, see the other show that was in the space that you saw on Friday. And you can also see the TYA shows, which are amazing from the Barter players, like on those mornings too. So it's, my parents came to visit for the first time and they were like, it's a theater factory. And I was like, that is, because it's just nonstop. We rehearse the first two plays that we're going to be performing next season while we're performing the seasons, like the current season. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Linda, my friend Linda.
Hi, Linda.
But so it's nuts. It's nuts. So my favorite roles, let's see. My favorite ones were the ones that I honestly thought, I don't know if I can do this. I mean, that's just, then the reward is that much better when you figure out a way to do it. So playing Blanche in Streetcar, because we have a resident company here, we often get cast not necessarily according to typical type. So like, I'm never gonna play Blanche anywhere else. You kidding me? You know, like I'm not the type usually, but so that was incredible. And then I just recently had the chance to play Francesca in the Jason Robert Brown Bridges of Madison County.
Oh, right.
That was
That's the one I picked out if I was going to show one. But if you all who are watching, if you go on YouTube and type in Barter Theatre, they have teasers of all their shows. So if you're curious,
scroll down a little bit. Them in that.
Yeah, that's super fun. And also, I want to just mention you had your directorial debut not too long ago.
I did. In 2015, I directed Jacob Marley's Christmas Carol for the first time there. I directed some readings and stuff here at Barter, but yeah, the fourth person. But hey, I counted before I came here because I started, you know me, a list, because honestly, you can't keep track of what roles you've done and when it was. So a few years back, I finally created a spreadsheet of the different roles and plays that I've done through the years, and I counted before this. And I would have been in 9 to 5 this spring if COVID hadn't shut everything down, and that would have been my 79th play. 79th production. Yeah. It's a theater factory. 79. Yep.
So let's just jump to real quick in our last 5 minutes. We have tips for longevity, resilience as an act. Do you go by actor or actress?
I say actor because who cares?
Okay.
But I don't really care.
As an actor who is in live theater, what are some of your tips, tricks, secrets for the longevity and resilience? Because those are two words besides brilliant. I mean, you're brilliant, but you can also be brilliant and not have, there are people who have reputations for having the understudy go on all the time. You have people with reputation who's never had the understudy go on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, depending on your health, I don't judge either way, but
I know what you mean.
Are Hannah's tips and tricks for longevity and resilience as an actor?
Never settle. Never settle. And I'm talking about within yourself. And to an outsider, it might look exactly the same as the performance you did the night before and the night before that and the night before that. But as long as you are constantly trying to not do something new, but just be in the moment. I mean, it's so cliche and everyone says it, but truly, the only way to do things over and over and over again with any kind of freshness is not to settle into something and let yourself. One of the Barter mottos is art equals growth. And I think that's true. To be part of a resident company, the temptation could be to come here, park, and retire. Work until you retire. And that is not the motto or the expectation here. You're constantly pushing yourself to do something you've never done before. And that can be macro or micro, I think. So, and then the other thing is kind of about being good to yourself and not letting it all be just about you. On your darkest day or the day where it was really hard to rally after a rehearsal or something like that, and you still have to go do a show, you can find a lot of the answers in your scene partners. You know, if you allow them in, if you get out of this thing and like allow them in, allow the audience in, and that's that part of longevity. It can't just be all you and all manufactured that way. Like, find and use your team. And a lot of actors do that to a point, but can go further with it. And the audience is no, at your most, you are still only 50% of the equation because the audience brings their own 50%. Like, and there's literally nothing you can do about that. So stop pushing as if you can change certain things and just do your job, do it the best you can, and keep yourself entertained, but not at his expense. You know what I mean? Like, do it because you love it, not because of anything else.
Yeah.
I don't know. How's that?
No, it's perfect. So I know that you know, who knows, like we were talking about with the equity roles about being on stage and what's coming, but anyone who has the opportunity to get to the Barter Theatre, and I definitely plan on taking Leonie someday, even if we do like a little road trip.
Yeah.
Maybe I can convince my friend Juan, who's watching, to drive us one day.
Juan, you know you wanna.
He's so fun. And so last time I was there was for your wedding in 2018, and Chocolatina was my date. Got her to do some magic things with the flowers because I'm like, I can do someone's makeup. Artsy. I think Chocolatina had like a really. Oh, Dom wants to go, so maybe we'll get John. Maybe we'll get a little road trip with John because he's fun to drive with.
I'll pick a good show. Good show.
Yeah, so it is coming back. We know it's coming back, or maybe Dom there. Yeah, who knows? He's an audition. He still auditions. Is acting. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we need to definitely come. So if anyone who is watching today has the opportunity to go to Virginia and see Hannah, please do so. And I just want to close on a high note because I know COVID is kind of bringing us all down, and you know, I have my good days and my bad days. But just a quick closer with what brings you personally hope?
I think, and my parents would be shocked to hear me say this, but change is usually almost always for the better, no matter how much it hurts. And I think that's the thing that, like, silver linings is the huge thing. You have to look and dig a little deeper right now in this world, but they are there. I remember thinking it when the satellite pictures showed that some of the pollution had gone away, and you could actually finally see things from, you know, on planet Earth that you'd never been able to see before because people weren't moving around. Like, I also see generationally things are shifting. There are certain things that have prevented the older generations and the younger generations from even being able to communicate just because their walks of life and experiences are so vastly different now. But now technology has kind of equalized us in a lot of ways. Opportunity and things have equalized us if we choose to look at it that way. Things are bubbling up, and it's necessary, and it's going to hurt before it gets better, but it is all on the no pain, no gain, baby. You know, it's like all on the arc of for betterment in the long run.
Yeah.
And I just hope that we all get to live long enough to see the benefits. Do you know what I mean? But we can do that in our everyday life. Like paying someone a compliment is free. Making someone's life a little bit better tomorrow and the next day and the next day, whether they're a stranger or not, that's free. We can all do that and actually
support. Just emotional support, yeah. Oh, well, this has been so fun, and I think we could go like 6 more hours.
Yeah, we could. No, just kidding.
Well, I just love you so much, and I'm just so happy. And, you know, maybe when it comes closer to when you're back on stage and things are running smoothly, we'll have you back and talk about like your first production back and
Yeah,
kind of stuff. So
I love it.
and I love to your mom and dad who live so close to you now. You can see, which is such
And their love too. They're gonna tune in a little later, I think, and watch it all.
so cool. Yes, yes. And your puppies, give my love to Matt. And
Will. Love to you, Leonie.
love to Leonie for helping us, always making sure I don't echo and sound terrible. So
Yay! No, this was fun, and thank you to everyone who watched. Thank you to everyone who.
yeah, well, you know, it's fun.
Time.
I just think the arts are so important, and I think being an artist since literally I can remember, and even though I don't do it full time anymore, it doesn't matter. I'm still active. I still practice. I still have plans to do things as soon as we're allowed. And Dom and I are starting a project coming up that I'll be able to talk more about later, trying to do more of anything, just anything at all for those of us who aren't really that into performing online. But if I can't perform online, this is so fun just talking to artists and kind of get how people are feeling in quarantine. But I am a big fan of nostalgia. Like I don't do anything wrong. I don't live in the past. Like I definitely am with you with hope for the future and change. And I'm always looking to grow and projects to grow. But I don't think there's anything wrong with grabbing my videos from whatever year and celebrating them, because they're all celebrations of projects we've accomplished.
And life happens so fast that sometimes you don't get to truly experience them in the moment.
No, or like you're on to the next one.
Yeah, or you experience them with the framework that you were in then, but to go back, you see things completely differently. You know, it's like, oh, yeah, why not? Nothing wrong with it. And in fact, whatever makes you feel good during COVID, I'd say. And yeah, nostalgia. There's just something in the world that is so unknown right now, to go back to what's like known and somewhat familiar and revisit that.
Yeah,
Perfect sense. Love it.
I think it's healthy. Well, have a great night. The rest of your night, please hang out for a few seconds if you can. I just want to say good night to you, and just thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you everyone for tuning in.
All right, I love you. Yeah. I'll talk to you in a second.
Okay.
Bye. That was Hannah Ingram. Isn't she amazing? She's so fun, and I'm so grateful that one of my first experiences in New York was working with her, because I not only gained a really fun, talented colleague, I also gained a best friend, and she's amazing. So thank you to Hannah. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. So next week, I am closing out 2020 with Chocolatina. We're going to do a little holiday special, and we may have a couple special guests, but for sure, we're having Chocolatina. We're going to sing, dance, chat, just kind of whatever happens. And those of you that don't know, she is running her Pie Queen business out of Denver, Colorado, and she has had some great success. So you live in that area, you'll hear more about how you can order yourself a pie for 2021, because she sold out for December. And my lovely wife did her website, which Leonie's quarantine project, which she's gotten really good at. We all need a project, everyone. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Special thanks to Ina for tuning in from South Africa. Dom, thank you for saying hi, and Juan, and anyone else I missed on the stream. Leonie has my phone, so if I didn't see you, I will thank you later. So thank you so much to Hannah again, and everyone just keep wearing your mask, please, and wash your hands, and just a reminder to be kind to one another, always. Have a good night.
For you, it's a new point of view to chew over what's new to you. Shoot the breeze, make buddies, and Melissa MCs, families, memories. Original artist series.